I guess. Damn, we good. All right, ready to roll whenever.
Ventrone looked in his first game. Did he exceed expectations, max expectations, and what's next for him?
Yeah, tried not to set expectations going into it, right? We felt like he did the things during the week to get him a role there going into the game. Obviously, as he gets back and going, hope to, see where that role can take him and expand on it. But for really not having a ton of work leading up to it, we were pleased with how he went out there and performed both mentally and physically. And, as he gets back into the flow of feeling the runs and just being integrated back with the group and the offensive line, we expect him to continue to develop. And as a young player, that's what you're looking for. And, that's our expectation with him right now. So pleased to have him back, pleased the way he's working. He brings a certain intensity to the group that I think is a real positive. So happy with where he's at.
Joe Flacco's game, can you just talk about his game overall and the outlook for this week?
Yeah, never really got into a rhythm, never got into sync with the guys, whether it was, us not getting the right pre-snap look or just being off kilter, pressure, whatever it was, just never got into a rhythm. I think the quarterback position is so important to get into the flow of the game, to be able to feel confident in what you're doing while you're back there. The week before, I felt like he did get into a rhythm early. You have that long drive, you have early success, which I think is important. So as coaches, it's how do we get him into that? How do we make sure that we're being clear during the week on the different things we're trying to get to pre-snap? And, because when he is in a rhythm, he'll hit a bunch in a row, and we've seen that. So it's our job to put him in that position.
With that, just watching the game, it looked like the Ravens covered the receivers tightly. So my question is, what can be done to gain separation for those guys?
Yeah, I think as a staff, we got to do a good job of putting those guys in the right positions, giving them different looks and different structures offensively to make sure that we're putting them in advantageous spots. We have talented guys that can go win. They've shown to do that. So, it's our job to put them in those spots.
Speaking of receivers, it looked like Sed got knocked down a couple times, fell down, and he got up looking for flags. Did you think there should have been penalties, or does he need to be more physical, through the contact?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter with the penalties. You can send in the report, and you almost feel worse when they tell you they should have thrown it, right? But no, we just want to hone in on the fundamentals, right? Our job, what we can control is making sure that fundamentally, especially early part of the season, so much of the messaging is the team that's typically fundamentally better and takes care of the football is going to win the game. And so for Sed, the focus is just get back to our fundamentals, put ourselves in good position, both through contact, without contact, to make sure that we're staying up. And look, he performed at a high level the week before through some contact, made some great catches across the middle. There were some tight windows, the touchdown certainly through contact. So just got to hone in fundamentally to make sure that, we're being efficient at the top of the route.
You talk about, the protection that Joe's getting, and then you look at Green Bay, and they just seem to bring pressure from everywhere, and not only do they bring pressure, they're getting home.
Right. Yeah, they create pressure with the front they have. It's an excellent front seven, excellent front four. Linebackers do a nice job in their blitz. I've coached against Half, in college when he was at BC, and he's done a great job since then of, really utilizing disguise, really utilizing ways to attack your protection plan. So he does a great job putting those guys. Obviously, they get a big trade here right before the season, which helps create the pressure. So, protecting the quarterback is really a job of all 11. It's the receivers being on time. It's the quarterback taking the proper footwork. It's the backs or tight ends in their protection work. It's the line being able to sort through calls. So we definitely have a challenge with this front. They do a great job both in their plan and they have really, really good personnel up front and across the board. So it's going to take our entire group to protect the quarterback, and it takes the quarterback also to protect the quarterback. So we look forward to the challenge and putting our players in a position to have that success.
How much has, Jack only had the one drive against Cincinnati. You guys obviously had a plan with Dewan in Baltimore. Just the continuity and the consistency. How difficult has it been to kind of get that and get that established up front this early on the season?
Yeah, we felt like we had it during training camp. I mean, that position group, it's 5 guys, but it's really one, right? I mean, they have to see things the same way. They have to work together in combination, both run and pass. So I do think, as the year goes on, you start to get more comfortable with the guy that's next to you. You start to be able to feel and play off one another. But, again, we've had that group for the majority of training camp. Cornelius is a guy who's taken a lot of reps for us throughout camp, whether it be on a day where maybe somebody was limited or just moving on both sides. So confidence in that, but it will continue to build and grow within that group.
What has Micah Parsons added to, as you said, a really good front already, but what has he added and where has he seen it?
I mean, he's a great player, right? We go against one very similar every day in practice. You just got to be hyper aware of where he is. You got to be hyper aware. They do a nice job of moving him around, not just kind of being stationary where you can own in on it. They did the same thing with him in Dallas where they were able to move him around. He's so versatile in his rush. He's so versatile and athletically what he can do. He's able to do those things. So you got to have awareness of where he is. Again, it takes all 11 of us to defeat a really good rush like that, but he's definitely a matchup that, there's guys across the league that you face, but, he's in that upper echelon for sure.
He's had leads of 17-3 in both games. Do you think they've been tested in their run defense at all?
It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think they have a good front, and they have dissuaded people maybe from running the ball early because of that front. They're a team that creates differences when how they build it, with how they try to attack you up front. So obviously when you get a lead of 14 points early, you're discouraged from running the football. Similar to how, Baltimore ranked really high against the run, they're usually playing with a lead. So sometimes those things can play hand in hand. But I definitely think it's a combination of a really good front and then situational football and dictates how those games are ending up.
And last week, just you're looking for consistency out of Dewan. So how do you think he went from week 1 to week 2? And particularly in the run game, what do you see out of him?
Yeah, I thought there was some growth. I thought there was some more. There was a comfort level in what we were doing. He had a couple really good reps on some downhill runs. There's some things we want to clean up fundamentally, but it goes for all of our young players, like the consistency, the growth. I mean, Dewan's still a young player in this league with terms of how many snaps he's played. So us pushing him fundamentally in the right direction to gain that consistency, to gain the trust in his footwork is something that we continue to harp on like we do with all of our guys. We want to make sure that we celebrate where his successes are and where he's improving and to continue to focus on these couple things that we want to improve on.
Are they moving him around a bunch, and who's really going to have to be worried about him? Is it going to be a lot of?
We all got to worry about him. Like he's moving all over the field. They do a nice job inside, outside, different packages for him. So, like I said, I think all of us own the part of protecting the quarterback and being in a good protection plan and getting the ball out. So, he's definitely one that we're going to be hyper aware for.
I was talking yesterday about resisting the urge to press when the offense isn't going the way you want it to go. How do you recognize when a quarterback is pressing?
Yeah, playing outside of the structure, I think. When we're playing in rhythm, playing on time, playing what the defense has given us, following our reads, not trying to do something extra outside the structure of offense. Typically a guy presses, it means he's trying to make a play that's not really there, that we haven't really designed it for. It's easier said than done, right? You get frustrated within a game. It's human nature to try to make a play, make something happen. And, for Joe, I think he understands that. I think he knows that. He's played long enough. He understands the way we're built and how we, want to have success. So it's something we continue to reiterate. And, you don't want to stifle him to make throws and make big plays, but, you want him to recognize for any player, like, hey, these are the looks that we want those big plays to occur. When we don't get that, this is the answer.
The defense that you guys have, I know you want to score on every drive, but what can the value be of a punt when something's not there?
Yeah. I mean, there's stats all over the place about when you end with a kick, right? Look, we want to be efficient on offense. We want to be able to score points. We want to be able to stay on the field. I felt like at times we did that in week 1 where we're able to stay on the field. We're able to have efficiency, convert third downs. That plays into complementary football. So, look, we can't give teams short fields. We can't turn the ball over. We can't do those things. So I think that just comes naturally within our ability to play within the system and play efficient football.
Dylan Sampson was such an important part of the offense in week 1. Week 2, obviously, you had Quinshon back, so kind of cut into his workload, but it seemed like he wasn't in on a lot of the passing downs. Why was that, and do you guys expect him to be more of a factor going into this week?
Yeah, rotations can occur for different reasons. And, yeah, Dylan's somebody we feel strongly about and excited about where he's at in his progression and continue to get him, the workload of being able to produce for us for sure.
The fact that he hasn't been here that long, do you have to take into consideration blitz pickup and those kinds of things in addition to just running the ball?
Yeah, there's a lot more to playing the position, obviously, like you're alluding to. So, look, we have, Deuce has done a great job getting Q caught up to speed. Q had the offseason, before training camp to understand our system, understand our install. So we felt like he had a good starting point. Obviously, he's, played the position for a long time. So it's definitely honing in on those points, honing in on those details to make sure that you have a player that you feel can execute the entirety of the offense. Cool. Thanks, guys.
If Corey couldn't have gone,
yeah,
who was your? I mean, was it Andre that would have handled the punting? Who would have been the punter in that situation?
Yeah, Dre would have stepped in. Yep.
What happened on the block punt?
Yeah, I mean, we got to protect better, got to block better, got to protect better. I mean, it's pretty obvious what happened. So.
Ronnie was the punt protector there. Is it as simple as that? And
we just got to execute with better blocking technique, have a base, time our punch. Disappointing, but it is what it is. You got to coach it up and move on.
Afterward, Grant took the spot as
punt
protector. Will that be the case going forward? Or
we'll see this week. We'll see how it goes. See how the practice setting goes. But we made the change. We felt we needed to do so.
Ankle feeling.
Say that again.
How's his ankle feeling?
He's a little bit nicked up, so we'll see how he progresses throughout the week.
Sunday.
Like I said, we'll see how it goes today.
2 weeks in a row now, giving up a fairly long punt return. Do you need to make changes in your coverage unit, or what can be done to?
We need to tackle better. We didn't cover the punt poorly. We actually didn't get a great ball to cover. The hang was low, and we missed a number of tackles on the play. We got to find a way to get the returner down.
2 weeks in a row now, you said that the hang time wasn't enough. Is it so? What can be done about that?
Probably get more hang time on the kick.
Will he return punts?
We're going to continue to get him reps back there. I think that he came in and did a solid job to be able to get us out of the game. So I think that he's been a really good worker for us so far in his short time here. Very, very receptive to any role that we put him in. He's been back there on kickoff returns as well, so he's done a good job for us.
Thing with him where he's young, got to get him more reps there.
Bond?
Yeah.
As the punt returner? Yeah. He hasn't done a ton of it in game. He's done a lot of it in practice in a college setting. So it's different. I mean, being able to get there in an NFL game with live bullets flying. So I thought he did a solid job last week.
So much about the complementary football, and I know you're trying to
get
your special teams to pull their weight. So how disappointing and frustrating it is when these games are so close.
For sure.
And yet
Yeah.
big plays are costing them.
No, it's. I mean, we obviously had the missed kicks in the first game. Give up the block. I mean, get that type of play impacts the game so much. It's like a turnover or worse. Especially when you give your defense is playing well. And those they had six drives that started on their side of the 50 in the minus territory, and I think they got a field goal out of those drives. And the other drives they were in the plus territory, that's where all their points came, or off the turnovers. So there's a direct correlation in playing complementary football and giving the defense a long field and giving the offense a short field. So that's going to be the goal moving forward. Look, it's been a short season. There's been 2 games played, so we're going to look to hopefully get back on track. Address the areas that we need to improve on in the next couple days.
Seems like since you got in, even before you were here, just in special teams in general here, where it feels like if it's not one thing, it's another. It feels like every week you're having to maybe try and correct or fix something. Just how challenging has that been for you when you've not been able to get a lot of consistency?
I would say last year we were inconsistent in some areas. Obviously, to start this season, I wouldn't say since I got here. I think that's a little bit inaccurate. 23, we had a good year. So we're looking to get back to that type of ball.
Let me ask you about the hang time. Obviously, that more hang time would help. But Corey's injury, would that affect? Is it his plant foot or his kicking foot?
Say it again.
Corey's injury, which ankle is it?
It's his plant.
Does that affect?
Yeah, I mean it would affect. I think it would affect it regardless of what foot it would be.
100% sure that Corey's going to be ready Sunday. How difficult would it be? Right, you don't have a guy on the roster, so you'd have to bring somebody in, get him ready to hold. Like, how tough would that be?
Yeah, we worked out a few punters, so we have that option if we needed it.
Gabriel to hold then?
Yeah. Yep.
Making his kicks this week after the rough.
Yeah, it was good to see him get back on track. Like I said, I mean, the body of work that we've seen from him and his mental capacity, I would say, overall for the position and being consistent, I think we had a lot of confidence that he would get back on track, and he did. He had a good week of prep last week. We got him we got him back in the stadium on Wednesday this week. So I think that we trusted that he would get it done, and we have faith in him moving forward. Thanks. Yep.